or what did you say to Laura? What do you say to Laura's friends? This next generation of young women who are trying to juggle it all. Are they more aware and more open to no longer being silenced, or has that been carried over generation to
Have
generation?
you worked with any millennials? Oh yeah, they're not so quiet about this stuff, which is good. I mean, I obviously have a great relationship with my daughter, and I've always talked to her very openly, and I told her the mistakes I made of trying to, it's like Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire, you're dancing backwards with high heels on, and I thought that it was important to prove my worthiness by pretending there was no life outside. And I thought that if I didn't do that, then the guys wouldn't take me as seriously. And when I started verbalizing what was going on in my life, and I was in an environment where people actually cared, they responded to my needs. I mean, I had a great mentor who supported me in crazy ways. She'd come to my home after work so I could put Laura to bed, and then we would work after Laura went to sleep. Well, most people aren't going to do that for you. But if I had never told her I was a single mom and I needed to get home for bedtime, then how would she have ever known? And so I am encouraged that this next generation is a little bit more willing to, first of all, to expect more from their partners, their spouses, in terms of contributing. I know my daughter and her husband have had many a conversation about their joint expectations in parenting. We just gave them a baby shower yesterday, and it was co-ed. And people are like, well, why are the guys coming to the shower? And I said, from the beginning, they're starting this as a partnership. And they're doing this together. You laugh, you try a co-ed shower. It was fun. No games. We didn't play games. But I think part of my message is, look, the question is, can you have it all? Well, we set an unrealistic expectation that having it all means doing everything to perfection. And I thought I was superhuman. And I could do it all. I could work all day. I could come home. I could put Laura to bed. I could work some more. And then I would make baby food from scratch in the middle of the night. What was I thinking? Don't do that to yourself. Don't set yourself up to think that everything has to be absolutely perfect. And I think the best example of that would be Laura. When I started my book tour, Laura flew out to Chicago and was interviewed with me. And the person who was moderating the conversation asked Laura, what surprised you in the book about your mother? And my daughter said, I had no idea she felt so guilty. She said she was a perfect mom. From her vantage point, not from mine. From mine, I was a lousy mother, and I was lousy at everything when she was really young. And that's not how she saw the world. And so I think I want working parents to give themselves a little bit of a break, to realize that you are doing a great job, and don't let perfection be the definition, the almighty comparison exactly, but also to remember that life has multiple chapters and they each have trade-offs, and you make decisions and then you have to live with the consequences of those decisions. But for me, what I realized when I started listening to my voice and I started realizing how much power I could have if I spoke up, and I started making decisions where I listened to the gut inside of me as opposed to what everybody else was defining as my life, that's when the adventure began. Not craving the comfort of the straight line that I had charted out for myself, but the exhilaration that comes from taking advantage of opportunities that knock at inopportune moments. And the exhilaration that comes from being scared to death about trying something new and then figuring out, oh, I can do that, and conquering it, and then swerving again. So zigzag is kind of my message to the young folks.